And now, your host, Couch Tomato!
Hey, I'm Couch Tomato and I'm joined by
Hulk.
Welcome to Stuff for Movie Buffs, and today we're talking
Avengers Infinity War.
All right, perfect. So let's jump right into it. By the way, this is definitely my most anticipated movie of the year, probably my most anticipated movie of the last 10 years. The last time I remember feeling this way about cinema was Matrix Revolution, when that came out, just because they were building so much towards the end of the trilogy. And more recently, the final installment of the Harry Potter franchise, which they were building so much to that showdown between Voldemort and Harry. So this is like the third time I remember feeling this way, like constantly, just like waiting, having nightmares, burdened with purpose, to watch this movie. So let's jump right into it. We'll get into our favorite moments. And by the way, we're going to discuss this movie and we're going to get into heavy spoiler territory. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, you could, proceed with caution. So spoilers. For me, right out the gate, Thanos, he's revealed.
Yeah.
And then, I just kept thinking like, it's going to be hard for them to live up to the expectation that they're setting because this guy's been popping up in after credit scenes since 2012. And I think whenever you do that, it's just you're setting up the villain to fail because there's no way he could live up to the hype. But in one short-lived match between the Hulk, I was like, oh, shoot, he's that deal. So that was one of my favorite moments. Like right out the gate, he took away Hulk's manhood. And Hulk was afraid to come out of Bruce Banner for the rest of the movie because of that. So I thought that was just like an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, like that was so funny. Like, because like he kept having all these moments where it's just like, okay, Hulk is about to come out like right now. Like, when the Hulk Buster lost the arm, he's getting whooped. I'm thinking like, okay, now Hulk is about to come. He's still like, no. Even like in
that trailer, that trailer lied to a lot of people.
Yeah, because I was just like, what? Wasn't Hulk in Wakanda?
I love the fact they did that. But yeah, I'm glad they didn't bring out the Hulk. But I was like, nah, because it was in the trailer. That's the only reason I thought what happens at the end of the movie is this is Thanos' movie, and Thanos got away with a lot of stuff. Like this is the MCU's version of Empire Strikes Back, where the bad guys win. But I kept thinking that they were gonna put Thanos in his spot and at least cripple him into the next film because of that trailer shot. I'm like, no, Bruce Banner is going to turn back into the Hulk, and they're going to be charging towards Thanos for one last strike. But then when the end of the movie happened, I'm like, oh, I guess they lied in the trailer.
Nah, I love the fact that they like you said, like that they did that, just because like you could just see it like with the Avengers, like they really were weakened in this movie, like all of them, like emotionally, physically. And it's funny because a lot of the times some of them were at their best. Like
yeah, I was gonna say you're saying weak. I think other than Hulk, they were strengthened, except Thanos was that much stronger.
Yeah, like because they never faced them. Because you had Tony with the nanotech, you had Spider-Man with the spider suit, you had even
Strange was just on his A game.
Yeah,
he's been studying. He had all these secret powers and stuff.
Exactly.
And I think Heimdall and Loki set the tone because when they kind of threw them off, like in the Thor trilogy, I think there's one great film out of that trilogy, and then I like Thor, but I understand why a lot of people don't. And then The Dark World, I think it's a consensus. A lot of people don't like it.
Yeah.
But when they got rid of Heimdall, I was like, oh, anybody could die now because they're taking away key characters from other franchises.
Yep.
So I'm like, oh shoot, everybody's gonna die. And by the way, spoiler alert: because of the nature of the Infinity Stones to reshape reality and rewind time, whoever dies always has the ability to be brought back. This is like Dragon Ball Z, like with the Dragon Balls. Like anybody could be brought back. So I'm not still, even though that exists, I appreciate them for going because we're not
Exactly.
getting another film for 2 years. So the fact that you're going to leave some of these characters dead for 2 years, that's still a lot of balls. That's just a lot of toys you could be selling, but whatever. So this movie reminds me of Age of Ultron in the sense that the action starts right away, and people had issues with Ultron. Like they felt that he existed too quickly. I didn't have an issue with that, but soon as the action starts, it doesn't stop. Like Hulk warns everyone like Thanos is coming, and like, oh shoot, he's here. After that, it's just boom, 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 boom. So the pacing is really fast. Like I didn't mind it. Some people may have an issue just because there's too many main characters in this film, but I thought based off of what they had to do, thought Age of Ultron had the same issue. Like it's too many people. It's like, but based on like you had to put these characters in this movie. Like you couldn't get away with leaving Guardians of the Galaxy out because Thanos covers the whole universe. So there's not going to be an excuse that you could have to be like, where was this person? Where was Ant-Man? They explain the whereabouts of everyone.
Yeah.
Like everyone in the MCU film is explained. It's like, nah, Ant-Man's chilling with his daughter. Hawkeye, man, he's playing golf with his family. And boom, everybody's whereabouts are explained because Thanos covers the universe, so that's his reach. All of the characters meet up in their respective cliques. You got Tony and Strange and Spider-Man. You got Thor and Rocket. And Groot. You have Quill, who eventually links up with Strange and them. And you have Cap, who's acting as a bodyguard to Vision. So what was your favorite clique?
Ooh, I would say I'll probably have to say like I was really more gravitating towards Thor, and I would say like the Guardians. I would say just because of like where they took the character Thor. Like to me, this was like the best showcasing of who he is as a character. I really felt like he was outside of Thanos. I felt like he was the most fleshed out. And then when you combine that with the Gamora storyline and Loki's death, like they just used all these deaths in like a certain way where even like as geeks as we know, like with the Infinity Stones, like all this can get reversed. Like some of these characters will be brought back, but at the same time, like I think they're gonna honor some of these moments where maybe this certain character is not gonna come back. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I really felt those.
We're talking about that later because if this works like the Dragon Ball,
yeah,
you know how if you wish everyone that was destroyed by Vegeta to life, well, everyone that was killed by Raditz stays dead, or everyone that was killed by Nappa stays dead. Yeah. So it was always, I want to see how that dynamic works, and I think I got at least one Dragon Ball wish that'll wish everyone back, but we'll get into that later. I will say, I do think that it would have been Hulk for you if Hulk didn't get his manhood taken. Yeah. If I were you, I wouldn't be mad if you change. If you change your nickname, I'm not going to trip at all because I would probably do the same thing. It was
funny because like the dude, because it was just like, Hulk comes right out the gate like murdering him, just hitting him with body shots, face, just about to knock him out, and then like all of a sudden you hear the other guy's about to jump in. He was just like, nah, let Thanos, let Thanos have his fun. I was just like, oh shoot.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Hulk, my same issue with Hulk is the same issue I have with Superman. Like you got all that strength and you don't really take the time to develop your craft. Go take some Taibo classes or learn Kung Fu because Thanos had hands. He was obviously using technique. And there's always this theory that the bigger they are, the more slow motion they fight. Thanos was moving quick. I was like, you see, that's how you develop your craft. You don't have any hands, Hulk. You could get mad all you want. You won't like it when I'm angry. It doesn't matter. Like I've seen angry people fight and I've seen people with technique. And if you can't harness your technique, you will get world starred. So it was hilarious watching him get taken down. By the way, my favorite clique, and I've been telling people this for the longest, Tony is that deal. So to date, Tony is the only one that held his own against the Hulk and the Hulkbuster in Age of Ultron. Yep. And he's also held his own with Thor in Avengers. And he's also held his own with Thanos. Some of those people Thor kind of has the same resume because he held his own with Tony.
Tony and Thor did pretty good against Thanos though.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So I other than Thor, I thought Iron Man probably gave Thanos the best run for his money. But nonetheless, his clique to me was by far the best. If you know about the Illuminati in the comics, I always wanted to see a Professor X, Mr. Fantastic, a Tony Stark, and a Doctor Strange on screen together. This is the closest thing that we've got, where it's Strange and it's Tony. You didn't hear them talk too much about the dynamic between science and magic, which one's more important, which one could change the world. But I guess the weight that they put on the Infinity Stones kind of explains their logics, like their way of thinking. And
yeah,
I like that friendship and how it's going to develop, because I'm like, wait, these guys are supposed to be friends, but then they're obviously enemies. It's like, bro, I don't care about that little teenager you're hanging with, and I don't care about you. If it comes down to it, I'm protecting this stone. But the fact that Doctor Strange changed his mind, I think Tony's going to appreciate that. I think that's going to be his new best friend, because he lost Steve Rogers or whatever. But
and if you notice, he saved Tony's life, and it was funny because I thought that was pretty interesting.
Tony's the one that has to. I think all of that. I think everything Strange was doing, he factored in what would happen with the random snap, like who's going to survive. Like, okay, if I do this is going to cause Thanos to snap at a different time, where to be like,
exactly,
boom, I'll survive, but Tony won't. Okay, Tony survives here, and so does Cap. Thor survives. I think
it's the original team.
Yeah, it's the original team plus Ant-Man, Captain Marvel, I believe Shuri,
and probably Hawkeye.
Yeah, he's the original team. He's there. He's going to be in the sequel. They left them out because I think they're going to survive, but you're going to see people like Wasp die to where they're going to have equal motivation. Like, I think Hawkeye's newborn is dead, and it's going to be like, what? This man, I'm retired, bro. I'm not supposed to be dealing with this, but I'll come out of retirement. So let's get into this, man. So there were some surprises in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we already talked about parts in the trailer that never made it to the final cut, but there were some surprises. And I'll start off with Peter Dinklage, because everyone knew he was in the movie, but no one knew who. A lot of people were speculating it was some CGI dude.
Yeah.
Which it was, but I don't know if you want to say that, but like he came out of nowhere. Like that, they probably, when you look back at the trailers, that's why I wasn't watching the trailers the last couple of weeks. It's not because I was like, I wanted to go in fresh, because this is one of the movies where I'm like, I watched everything that came out, but towards the back end, it seemed like everything that they were giving us, I'm like, it's the same scene. They keep showing us Wakanda, and they keep showing us the Captain America introduction. Like, I'm not really seeing anything new, and I don't think these trailers are going to give me anything new. When you factor in the trailers, all the trailers probably showed a combined 2 minutes worth of the movie. Like it didn't show you anything. So the whole Peter Dinklage storyline was left out, and that was a surprise. The Red Skull element.
Yeah.
Everybody was completely wrong on where the Soul Stone was. At the beginning of the movie, Marvel's trolling. I think they only added that line to troll. They were like, yeah, we've read your fan theories. And Thanos says, 2 of the stones are on Earth. I'm like, what? 2? That would mean the stone, and that would mean the Mind Stone. I mean, that would mean the Time Stone and the Mind Stone. What about the Soul Stone? How else are they talking to souls on Wakanda? I'm like, man, they put that thing at the beginning of the movie so they could be like, haha, you were wrong. So, but Red Skull introduction, and I've always felt like that's always been a loose element to the MCU. Like, they never explain what happened to Red Skull. They're just never going to explain it because of the contract disputes with Hugo. So now that's fixed and resolved. The only thing is whatever happened to that little boy on Iron Man 3. They gave him his workshop and he just disappeared from existence. But like there were some exaggerated scenes in the trailers, but there were also some rewarding parts, like surprises. Any surprises other than the ones that I named, or do you care to elaborate on the ones that I named?
Yeah, I'll probably just let me see. I'll probably just elaborate more on like what you just named. Like they did a great job with like some of like the with the uses of the characters, like not revealing anything. Because like when the Red Skull thing happened, everybody in the theater was gasping. You know what I'm saying? And this was like, and that's what
I thought it was death at first.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was they were trying to show that it was death, but I'm like, yeah, everybody gasped.
Yeah, like and that's the thing that I love about like the Thursday night crowd and the like even like the Friday night crowd too is just like they're really into it. Like they really like you can just tell like it's fans there. Like they really love the movie. Like they really like they know certain parts. You know what I'm saying? Like certain things. So when that happened, I was actually surprised. Another thing like with Peter Dinklage, like his character, like I totally forgot.
Before you get to Peter, can I say one more thing about Red Skull?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was amazing. The only person that would ever want to, the only type of person that would want to get all the Infinity Stones is a person like Thanos, who's after supreme power. Typically, people that have like a balanced mindset would never want that, you know, because they usually want other things. But Red Skull is a Thanos type guy. Like, I want supreme power, I want superiority, etc. And people like that rarely love people. So it's like they're like the way the system works and the universe works, a person like that would rarely find love. And I thought that was awesome for him to explain. I done saw people go drip through the same cycle I went through, to where you spend all your life chasing supreme power, and power is the only thing that you love, not people. And you need love and affection from someone else to actually get this last the soul stone. And I was like, oh wow, that is just, I like the way that system works. It's like the governing body over power has some type of moral compass. So I like how they added that type of storyline, and that explains why he was just gone for all these years. It's like, bro, I searched for love after I searched for power, and it never.
Yeah,
hit.
and it made sense like why he took in Gamora. You know what I'm saying? Like why he spared her life. It was just like, I don't want you to. You know what I'm saying? Like I want your life to be different. I don't want you to stay on this planet that's gonna be gone in a few years. You know what I'm saying? Because of overpopulation. I'm going to take you in. I'm going to make you my daughter. I'm going to raise you. And then, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully one day you could take my spot.
And that's the thing. I like the fact that they put the cliche on the bottom of his head, because everybody always asks the question, how would Tony Stark have been if his parents survived? How would Bruce Wayne have been if his parents survived, or if he would have found some nice foster parents? That's why I'm like, nah, man, whatever happens is going to happen. You were probably better off that your parents died, because you could end up like a foster parent. You could end up with a foster parent as horrible as Thanos to push you towards the edge. And I'm like, ooh, you talking about people growing up with parents? Gamora had a single parent father who was just horrible. So sometimes it's like, pick your poison, like, whoa. But you were saying about Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, I was surprised because I totally forgot he was in this movie, and I was just like, wow, that was pretty good. Like they really did a good job of like with the marketing, where they didn't reveal too much. Like they didn't feel pressured. They knew like the Infinity War was gonna sell itself. You know what I'm saying, in a way. So why, put out so much with the trailers? Like just keep it to the Wakanda shot. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Yep. A few scenes here and there. Even manipulate with like having Hulk show up. They did a great job.
Yeah, that's, to me, that's very good, because in this day in Hollywood, I like the fact that they're rewinding time. I don't know if they gave Kevin Feige a time stone, but go back to old school marketing, where don't tell me too much about the movie, man. If you make good movies, live off your reputation. And when you see that Marvel Studios logo, it means something now. So, all right, let's get into Thanos, and where does he rank in the MCU? And feel free to rank this guy outside of the MCU as well, because I do believe this is epic.
Yeah.
When you factor in Joker from The Dark Knight, Ultron and Age of Ultron,
Loki.
Other than that, I'm not going to include Loki. Let me tell you why. Other than those two people that I've named, I don't ever remember a villain getting this much dedication in regards to screen time in a comic book.
That's true. He had the most screen time.
Yeah, so this is his movie, obviously. And the audacity for Marvel to attempt a villain like this is mind-boggling, considering all the criticism that Marvel sucks when it comes to villains. So here's the question. Did Thanos live up to the hype?
Oh, big time. I would rank him second behind the Joker only because I felt like that performance was just, one of the best, not just as a villain, but just as a character, one of the best of all time. And then,
so obviously that would put him number one in the MCU.
Yes, I think he beats out Killmonger, who I had number one because of his screen time. He was just more fleshed out, and you know what I'm saying, like just from beginning to end, like he had motive. One thing I loved about with Thanos is like sometimes like a lot of these villains, like especially with comic book movies, it's just like I just want to end the universe. I just want to end the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He actually had a
motive.
motive.
Power.
Yeah. Like he had
who did you have at number 3? Who do you now have at number 3?
In the MCU?
Yeah.
Well, you said take out Loki, so I had to take out Loki. Probably.
No. I said take out Loki for my first point, which is I've never seen a villain get this much screen time. So the Ultron isn't my favorite villain, but I'm saying Age of Ultron is Ultron's movie. That's the first time that I've seen that done. I'm like, oh, this is his movie. Mm-hmm. And then this is the second time that I've seen it. No, this is the third time. The first time was Joker. I think Joker, The Dark Knight is Joker's movie. I don't think it's Batman's. I just think the defining moments in that movie all revolve around Joker. Yeah. So it's more of a Joker origin story, even though we never learned where he got those scars. But yeah, like in the MCU though, I think I'm inconsistent with you. I'm like Thanos number 1, number 2 is Killmonger, number 3 is Loki.
Yeah. That's definitive.
And I think when it's all said and done, I think he will go down as the best villain in comic books and sci-fi history. Like he'll have to pass Darth Vader and Joker in order to do that. So I still have him behind Joker, but because he'll get 2 films and we never really got to see that to Heath Ledger, they're going to be able to do more things. He's going to have more defining moments. He's going to be able to take down more foes than Joker ever accomplished.
That's
and
true.
he was successful in his goal. That's the only reason I'm including Darth Vader in this, because Darth Vader kind of got him where he wanted him in Empire. So I'm like, all right, he was successful in his thing as well. But where they were successful with Thanos is they gave us a solid origin story that helped us understand him more. You don't get that with Anakin in the prequels. A lot of people actually hate the prequels because of that. It never lived up to the hype. And the thing about Joker is you're not supposed to know where he comes from. Yeah. Like you're not really supposed to understand, okay, this is who he was prior. They've tried and it never works out. So
and the continuity got messed up with Joker too, because now you have Jared Leto's character. It's just like if you had like maybe 2 movies with Heath, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe you could put him. Yeah, it would have been even more.
So that I'm trying to save myself because a lot of people are just gonna try to like kill me, but no, I'm not. I won't be surprised if he's past Joker already. But I'll at least give him another film to do that to where it's a consensus. Like, I'm like, dang, I never seen a dude like this. I think from the beginning, I felt for Thanos in the same way that I never got to feel for Anakin. Mm-hmm. So, and he mentions this to Tony, like that he's burdened with knowledge. He mentions that to Tony, like, because Stark knew about all this before it even happened.
Yeah.
And I thought it was Thanos in his head, but it's just the way the universe works. It's choosing to reveal its fate to just a few people. So I felt the same way. That's why Tony's my favorite character. I think a lot of people don't agree with Tony's actions on Age of Ultron, but he was right. They needed Vision to kill Ultron. And They don't agree with them on Civil War. Tony's thing was, whatever we decide, we need to stay together. And I'm not going on the run. Like, keep in mind, I own a Fortune 500 company. I can't run from the government, brother. And then, so that's why he didn't want to break up the set.
Yeah, because you could see
quoting Steve Rogers. And if they would have been together, they would have probably still lost. But I think they would have been able to. Vision would have never been out there by himself and to get stabbed. That's why Vision is their strongest character, but he was the weakest in this film. Like, he was getting manhandled by people without powers.
Yo,
because he got that stab.
Yeah, he didn't. Yo, I was shocked. Like, he didn't win not one battle at all. Like, he lost every single battle he was in.
You got jokes, but then nobody's saying anything about Hulk. How many battles did Hulk win in this film? Not Bruce Banner. Exactly. Sit down
No,
somewhere.
but at least he lost to
At
Thanos.
least what?
At least he lost to Thanos. This guy was just losing to like his henchmen. Like, come on.
Bruh. All right. So the thing is, Thanos lost his home planet, and he's willing to do anything to avoid people having to live through that same type of mourning. Of course, he's a lunatic.
Yeah.
But this film did a good job of like making you understand his motivation. And in some cases, like, dang, I feel for the dude. Like, I feel you. You lost your people and blah, 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 blah. But in his connection with Gamora, because I'm a father, I never wanted him to get all of the Infinity Stones, but I understood the way he felt with Gamora. The fact, like, I don't know, for some reason, I didn't understand that relationship because when Gamora sold them out on Guardians, I thought the next time Thanos saw her, he was knocking her out on sight.
Yeah.
And then when he chose to and the way I thought the story was leading, I thought in order to get the Soul Stone, you had to kill somebody that you loved, which was Gamora. So I thought the Soul Stone would have I thought when she was like, kill me, if Thanos gets a hold of me, kill me. And I thought she was saying that is because if Thanos kills me, he's gonna have access to the Soul Stone. So I'm like, okay, she must be kind of like a vision where the Soul Stone is embedded in her. And that's why Thanos chose to keep her as a survivor. Yeah. And I'm like, but wait, Thanos doesn't know the secret. So then when I found out Thanos didn't know none of that stuff, and when it came down to killing his daughter, I was like, oh, he really loves that chick. I found out from the Reality Stone scene that he loved her. Because when he was like, you never really know. You never really know if they love you or if they fear you or something. And he chose to do that whole setup just to kind of find out if she would have tears when it was time to kill him. But I'm like, oh, he really loves her. That's his daughter. Yeah. And when it came time to kill her, I'm like, you talking all this junk. He starts monologuing, just like in the Incredibles thing. Heroes monologue too, because she kept talking. I'm like, he about to throw you off that cliff, young lady. You need to run. And I'm like, oh man, I just kept hoping that Nebula would end up on a ship and catch her or something. But I'm like, man, everybody about to die. So the more I talk about it, for me, he's up there with Voldemort, Joker, and Darth Vader.
For sure.
Is the best villains I've seen on cinema and franchises. And I think he may slightly have an edge over all the other people that I just named.
Yeah, because and part 2 comes out next year.
Are you sure it's next year?
Mm-hmm. Positive.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So
I don't know why I didn't do research on the timeline for that. I'm like, hey, do we have to wait 2 years for this? This just it seems like Marvel would be sitting on their hands if they let 2 years go by with only releasing limited films.
Yeah,
So if it's okay, I could definitely wait for next year then. Dang, what am I gonna do?
It's gonna be a long year. It's gonna be a long year. But
dang, I wish we had hibernation pods or something. Go ahead, bro.
But yeah, Thanos, it's like he's already because it was funny because Kevin Feige was just like, oh, this is like a biopic for Thanos when he was describing Infinity War. And when he said that, I was just like, he's probably like, maybe this, but I doubt it. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of producers, they say stuff, or like, oh, this is like God.
I heard certain things like that, but I didn't hear that particular quote, but I did hear when they released that Thanos has more screen time, and that was said by the Russo brothers. Mm-hmm. I believe them because we've seen that with Ultron. I'm like, well, no, this won't be the first time they dedicated a film to a villain. And when you look at the Avengers franchise by itself, I'm not including the standalone or the other character pieces. Avengers Part 1, Age of Ultron, this is Avengers Part 3. Every film, they focus on the character more, on the villain more, every time. So it's like, well, Loki got a lot of screen time, but Age of Ultron had a lot of screen time.
True.
So it's not far-fetched to me to believe that Thanos is going to get some story because you've been talking about this guy since 2012.
Yeah. And it's like, so he's already has like a great foundation. Like this is like a great first movie to start off with. So now he has another movie where he can just build off his legacy. Like you said, like he really has the opportunity to be like the best villain of all time. Like he really does.
This man, I like his style because anything that you thought could hang with him, I'm like, well, maybe if Thor would have had his hammer, it would have been different. And I'm like, Well, no, because Thanos' weapon was forged from the same,
Maker.
tech.
Yeah.
That Thor's hammer was. And by the way, he has an upgraded application because his was recently made. So I was like, oh wow. But then seeing how Thor, the Stormbreaker, did some damage to his skin, I was like, all right, yes, he's not invincible. Like that's the thing I just didn't like. I'm like, I don't see them coming out of this one because nobody's putting a dent in this guy. Tony gave
Fought him
his
the
all,
best. Just a
and
little
then boom, they're like, I'm bleeding.
just a little scratch.
You popped my pimple. Oh, my pimple. Oh, you popped it. Tony. Tony looked at him like, dang, I wish
For
Cap
real.
was here. And when I saw Tony get stabbed, that's the only time I threatened to walk out of the theater. I'm like, this is some bull.
Literally the person
This is
next
some bull because you don't want to pay him his money.
the person next to me started crying, like tears,
Bruh.
like boohoo tears.
If you ever sit next to me in a theater, Hulk, I don't think you've ever had the pleasure of going into a theater with me. I'm an ideal patron because I don't laugh. I don't have outbursts. I don't like, yeah, I don't do that. Like that. When you sit by me when I watch sports, I'm just not like that. I'm a very spiritual dude, but in church, I don't get kind of rowdy. I'm just like, I'll nod my head or I'll smile. So, even with that, when I was like, this some bull. I was like, this some bull. That's my only reaction in the movie. Like even when the jokes are landing, I'm just not that type of person. I don't laugh out loud. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, that's funny. That's funny. But I'm always quiet because I want to hear. Yeah. So with this one, I was like, that's some bull. I just don't want to pay him his contract. Pay the man his money. Like, let him walk off into the sunset. Don't kill him. I'm like, this man having dreams about babies. And when we get into standout characters, in order, obviously Thanos. Mm-hmm. You mentioned Thor.
I put him number 2.
I put Iron Man as number 2. I put Thor as number 3, but I don't think
close.
anybody will have a problem. Yeah, I think Scarlet Witch is number 4.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And like think, go ahead.
Elizabeth Olsen's like, she's such a good actress. Like she really brought the emotion in every scene. Like I felt bad for her every time she, had to kill Vision and do all that stuff. Like
but she died. She died.
She still a standout though. She was a standout.
I thought she was gonna survive because I'm like, they're gonna keep. Every person who's connected to somebody's going to survive. So that means either Groot or Rocket have to die. Either Quill or Gamora has to die. But when they took out all of them, I think Rocket's still here. Rocket's still here, right?
No, I think Rocket's gone. I think so.
I remember Rocket surviving. Because remember when he looked at Groot dying?
That's true. He could be. Because I remember thinking like, okay, all the Guardians are dead. Black Panther's dead. Winter Soldier's dead. So I'm thinking like, okay, all the new characters.
I just remember but certain things was confusing. Whenever you saw 2 people, you knew one of them was going to survive. Yeah. So when I saw Falcon and that's unfair. They did that scene. Falcon.
Yeah, where's Sam? Sam, where are you?
And War. Because it's like, hey, basically they kept lining up to be like, they showed Bucky and Cap, but then Bucky died. So it's like, okay, Cap lost a friend. Then they showed Black Panther. And I forgot her name, Michonne. I forgot Michonne's name. So but then Black Panther died, and they showed the 2 black guys. It was like, hey, 2 black guys are here. One of them has to survive, and they showed Sam. And I'm like, that was kind of like, come on, man, that was in poor taste for you to do that type of matchup. But and then when it showed Rocket and Groot went. But then when it showed Spidey and Iron Man, Spider-Man went and Strange went as well. And Peter went. That's why I'm like, well, Peter's going to survive. I'm like, oh, they killing off all the Guardians. And I'm like, okay, when I saw the last men standing, I'm like, okay, they got the original Phase 1 folks. So that just means that you have to have faith that Hawkeye made it. So I'm like, okay, Hawkeye made it.
He has to.
Ant-Man has to make it. And Wasp probably dies, and Captain Marvel makes it, and So, but going down the line, Scarlet Witch, the important characters. So I got Thanos, Iron Man, Thor, Scarlet Witch. Thought Gamora came with her A game.
Yep.
Then I put Strange, Then I put Hulk. Even though Vision was an important piece, he was just beat down for most of the film. So he was just like, ow, just kill me if it comes to it, kill me.
That's
and another
that,
thing is,
that's another thing that hurt their chances too, because Vision was done, and then Hulk was basically done for the movie. So that really hurt their chances.
It's the Civil War effect. You take out the people that are technically too strong.
Yeah,
where it's like, no, you got to leave out Thor and Hulk out of Civil War because they're just too strong. And then you take out Vision. I'm like, dang, that's Vision is Scarlet Witch doing all this damage. What would Vision have done? So the thing is, I know the directors and the producers don't put things in film without a purpose. Like we starting to learn that with Red Skull. Like Red Skull touched the Space Stone and he went into space. Like there's no mistake in these films. Tony had a vision that somebody was pregnant, and I thought the reason they were going to allow Scarlet Witch to survive because I thought she had a baby by Vision, but they're both dead, so that's not the case. But I do think that's on the horizon. Like somebody has to have a baby, and I don't know if it's Bruce is actually gonna get what he do what he needs to do with Black Widow, because they mentioned how she had that issue in Age of Ultron, to maybe that is resolved, or Tony's really about to have a baby, but we'll have to wait till next year to find out. I just know they wouldn't put that in the film for no reason about especially Tony's dreams usually come true, i.e. the end of the world. So we'll see. All right, so where do they go from here?
Yeah,
like this movie ended up on a sour note, which brings a smile to my face. I was just like, Thanos. I loved it. I didn't cry because I knew the moment. I understood the moment. Like when I saw them line up back to back, when it was time for them to knuckle up on Avengers, when they were all, I'm bringing the fight to you guys.
Yeah.
And then I'm always angry. And then boom, the theme plays and they're lined up back to back in that circular shot. I smiled because I was like, this is going to change the game. Yep. This is really going to change the game. And when I saw everybody dying, I'm like, yes, this is going to change the game to where maybe the stakes aren't that serious in this film because like a Days of Future Past type deal. But other studios are going to understand we need to start killing some of these characters to reward the audience, because we keep setting this stuff up in trailers and it's never that serious. And by the way, Marvel's always strayed away from that. DC's always DC likes to kill pedestrians and villains. They rarely kill their heroes. Yeah. And I'm like, no, Fox has been killing their heroes since day one. Like people had issues with the way they did Last Stand. People had nobody had issues with Days of Future Past, but even on First Class, they've been killing key comic book heroes, and I'm like, yes, kill some people sometimes, bro. Like I'm tired of this. Like I feel like there's no stakes. I know what's about to happen before I walk into the theater, and I smiled like this is serious. This is serious. Even Star Wars, who started off their franchise killing meaningful people, they scared to kill people now. Now they kill people and their spirit stays around for like 8 more movies. I'm like, come on, man, have some conviction. But where do they go from here? Because it seems like all is lost. Like, let me hear some theories.
Yeah. One thing with Infinity War is just like they did exactly what they like. It's not a perfect movie because no movie. It's hard to have a perfect movie, but they did. This was the one movie where they did exactly what I wanted them to do, and then it's like it's gonna be so hard for part 2 to top that. But I'm done with doubting them. Like I really feel like this is perfect the way they have it set it up,
bro.
Like with the
aim for the head. Hey, you should have aimed for the head.
Like with
it's their 10-year anniversary. It's so poetic that this was like this may be one of their best movies, and we're gonna rank it later, but I'm really surprised that they took Doctor Strange out because the whole idea of you need science and technology. I was shocked.
Yeah.
When you look at all of their villains in the past, like Tony had to understand how the Space Stone worked, which was the Tesseract, and he had to do gamma research on that, right? And then you also had to have Thor understanding the nature of its magic. Like, no, and this is what Loki's doing, and he's bringing in the Chitauri. I probably need the Tesseract to bring him back as a prisoner to my planet. So it's like you always see the combined forces of science and magic. And based off of the people who are survived, you have the original lineup from phase one, which you have Bruce Banner, you have Stark. I'm imagining Shuri's alive, and Ant-Man's probably alive. If Pym's alive, that'll be even better. But so science is gonna play a huge role on how they counter Thanos. Thor brings you that magic element, but it would have been awesome to have Strange there, but maybe it would have been cheating. I'm anxious to see how they defeat him. I do believe that Thanos is going to have to have some type of awakening moment, like, I'm being lied to, because death came in the fashion of Gamora's younger self.
Yeah.
When, and I think that death has this way of only revealing her beautiful side, even in the comics, to where death came in the fashion of the one person that he actually loved.
Yeah.
So he has to realize that he's being lied to or manipulated for him to be like, forget this. I'm like, and that'll probably make him give up the Infinity Stones, to where I'm like, I'm not doing your dirty work no more, but I am about to beat up these Avengers though. And if he goes into that battle without the Infinity Stones, I think they could take him, but they're gonna have to separate him from that power, because I think by law, you're not supposed to touch a person who could cheat death like that. If you could touch all those gems, you control, you hold the key to Hades, basically. It's and I think they need to separate him from that. And it would be awesome if Thanos chooses to separate from those powers. And if they fight Thanos without those stones, I still think they'll get murked. But
it's like even without it, man's a beast, bro. Like he had one stone against Hulk, and he didn't even use it. He just beat him up. That was it.
Yeah,
and that's the Hulk. That was just the Hulk.
It wasn't even close. Like, I think Hulk was.
He just murdered.
Bro, Hulk just wanted to retire. That was embarrassing, bro. But
and then Tony with the nanotech was just like, that was just some of the best. That's another thing with the action sequences, was just amazing. Like, Tony with the nanotech was just beautiful. Like, just watching him use all these different tools, everything.
They're cheating
only
now.
A scratch.
Like, yeah, they're cheating now. Like, I don't even know if he needs the Avengers anymore after that.
for real.
But so where does this rank?
It's funny because this was like the best feeling I had, like, outside of like the Dark Knight and the first Avengers. This was like the best feeling I had, coming out of a movie.
But you mentioned the first Avengers, so where is it rank?
It's tough, but I'm gonna put it number one, only because like it's hard. I'm gonna put it number one only because, like, I feel like I'm gonna be able to continue to watch this and appreciate it more. I think it's more deeper than the Avengers in a way, with some of the themes that they put in. Emotionally, it grabs you more than the Avengers.
Only thing special about you came out of a bottle, Rogers. You killed my brother. You're willing to lay down on a bomb, blah 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 blah, to save another person. I would just cut the wire. All of them had to mature in that film. I feel you, but people forget how impactful Avengers was.
Trust me, I'm not sleep on that. But
I feel you. I'm not arguing with you though. I said I feel you. I just think we may be the prisoner of the moment. I wrestled with it as well to say, but then I was like, well, no. The reason you could go into these movies and not have to explain their backstories, because I grew with them since Avengers, so that's unfair. But you talk about juggling characters. Avengers was I was one of the few that didn't believe Avengers would work. Up to me paying my ticket, I was like, it's not gonna work. It's like the Spider-Man syndrome. You're not supposed to put that much characters in a film.
Yeah.
I used to think that was a problem, but now I understand you can't put that much villains in a film. But I was like, I don't care how good the trailers look. It's just not gonna work. And when I watched it, I was like, oh wow, you could juggle characters and make this stuff work. So that was the first time I seen that happen on that type of scale. And also at the time, it was the first stakes that I seen to where you just were killing civilians like that. With the Chitauri, I'm like, oh shoot, people are gonna die. I don't think they might save the city. So I'm gonna put Avengers above it, and I'll put this second. But man, I love me some Winter Soldier. I love me some Black Panther. I think Thor Ragnarok is great. For you to come out 10 years after still be releasing haymakers. The only two franchises that get better with time are this, and surprisingly, because I'm not counting Harry Potter because they don't make new movies anymore, and Fantastic Beasts it can't hold the torch to the original franchise. And Fast and the Furious franchise. It's like they're getting better. They're like wine. It's like, wow, it's getting better. This is weird. But so guys, I want to hear what you guys think. Are we in over our heads? Is Thanos the best villain we've ever seen on the big screen? Are we completely wrong on that? Is he top 2? Because we at least said he's top 2. And also, where does this movie rank in the MCU? Anxious to hear your thoughts. Let us know in the comment section or hit us up on social media. Guys, thanks for joining us today. Before you leave, if you like what you heard, share it with a friend on Apple Podcasts or wherever you go for your podcast. Don't let this be the last time we hear from you or you hear from us. Support the show and become a sponsor by visiting our Patreon at patreon.com/CouchTomatoFilms. Join us next week and check out the show notes on where to find us weekly, guys. It's Couch Tomato Films on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and Couch Tomato Film on Twitter. Other than that, peace.